It's the Rogue Fab Model 600 tubing bender. It's just been recently added to my arsenal of tools here at the shop. Now I'm going to run over the whole assembly of it and show you some of the most insane features about a tubing bender that's really awesome. And it's only going to be found on this episode of the Fabrication series. Now there's a couple of different ways to order your Rogue Fab Model 600 tubing bender. One of them is completely welded and powder coated up, ready to assemble straight out of the box. All you have to do is add your cylinder and start bending. Or, if you want to save a few bucks and have some fun doing it, go with the option that I have here. Weld it together yourself. Yes, it actually subtracts some of the price off of the model on it, and you get to actually run through some practice, kind of, connect with your bender, see how it's all put together, and really have a whole lot of excitement. So if you choose the option B of weld it all together yourself, you're going to get roughly 110 pounds worth of American-made awesomeness delivered to your door. Now, it might be a little bit of intimidating as soon as you lay it out across the bench like I have on this one, but as soon as you see those colorful instructions that are very detailed, go over every single process and show you everything, trust me, you're going to get a hold of it really quick. Now, since I only own TIG welders, I'm going to go ahead and strip away some of this mill skill that you see on the outer frame rails, and of course a couple of other little pieces too. Now, it's not that big of a deal if you want to use a MIG or whatever the case is. In fact, the factory models are MIG welded, but I'm going to use a TIG and I like a nice clean weld, so I'm going to go ahead and strip away all that mill skill. Now, everything else is completely stripped away of it. It's all cold roll. I mean, there's no mill scale on it anyway. But there's one thing that actually really took me over. The very first thing that I found about this bender is that as soon as I put it together without any welds or anything holding it together, I see everything from little relief grooves to actually apply a weld to everything about the tabs, the slots, the locks, everything as it sits right here in this shot is completely held together on its own. All the little tiny details, everything down to this being laser cut instead of plasma cut or cut by hand or anything else like that, is absolutely insane. You don't find that in a lot of products. So first we're going to start with our cylinder supports. I'm going to throw the actual rear frame rail. It's the smaller frame rail. We're going to throw that together and we're going to add the outside frame rail. Now make sure that the flat side of that C-channel in the outer frame rail sits on the inside, just like it's shown here. Grab a hold of a square. Make sure that it's actually set up after it's held together with a holding magnet, and I'm just going to throw a really quick little tack down on it. Now, of course, the exact same thing is going to have to go on the other side, so we're going to repeat the process. Slap the holding magnet in there, give it a nice little tap to where it's nice and set and even where it needs to be. Grab a hold of the square one more time just to make sure that we're actually working with what we're working with. It's actually square, it's good to go, and I'm going to throw down another heavy little tack here. Now, pay very close attention to the orientation. If you are standing like I am standing in this video here, this opening that you see here is to be on your right. If you are standing behind the machine or at the back side of the machine, the cylinder supports are facing you. The larger side of the opening is on the right. Make sure it goes on that way. Now, theoretically, it only goes in one way, but just make sure that the larger side of the opening is on your right. Now, I'm going to lock those cylinder support tabs into the base plate slots. And I'm going to go ahead and grab a hold of a holding magnet here to make sure that I hold those cylinder supports perpendicular to the surface. It's very important that they stay that way. And as soon as I got it locked in right where I want it, very hard to miss, but I'm going to go ahead and throw down a tack on those tabs and slots for the cylinder supports. I'm also going to toss on a couple of extra tacks on the top of the cylinder supports to the base plate itself. This will make sure that they don't actually move around. Now, one thing that's very important here is we're going to have to flip it over and put some of the lower side structure on here. So I'm going to go ahead and tack the base plate to the actual frame rails and each one of those relief grooves. Now, just a little tack will do you in case you got to cut it back off or anything like that. Remember, just keep a tack weld. But I'm going to go all the way around from one side and end on the other. Now, just a quick flip on the table and we're going to get down to the bottom side of this. Now, this is your lower brace. Now, it's the one that goes on the inside. It's a piece of flat stock, fits perfectly between the frame rails, and it mounts up against the cylinder supports on the underside. Now, I'm just going to take a holding magnet here, place it right down where I need to, tack the sides along to it, each one of the sides of the actual lower brace to the sides of the frame rails, and then we're going to go through, attach them to the cylinder supports, and then I'm also going to go ahead and tack all the rest of the frame rail and the cylinder supports underneath. Now the front brace goes in, pretty much the exact same as the lower brace does, but we'll just slap a holding magnet in here, make sure it's actually sitting where it goes. I go ahead and throw it on side here, and then I'm going to grab the square and make sure that the front brace is actually mated up evenly with the bottom of the actual frame itself. And as soon as I've confirmed that, drop down a couple more tacks on the bottom of it, and then we'll flip it back up on its top side, and we'll mate all three pieces, the base plate to the outer frame rail to the front brace, all in one shot with a good solid tack. As soon as all that's done, we'll set it aside. We're going to grab a hold of our uprights, and I'm going to drop them down on the table. You can actually see how heavy they are as soon as I drop them down. It shakes the camera. Make sure you grab a hold of the hardware bag that came with it as well. Now this is extremely important, correct orientation. Make sure that when you place them both together, you fold one this way, fold one that way, and they are actually mirrored of each other. That's the correct orientation of it. Doesn't matter which way they are as long as they are both mirrored. Now go ahead and grab a hold of one of them and grab a 3/4 inch washer and your 3/4 inch pin. There's only one 3/4 inch hole and one 3/4 inch pin. There's a whole bunch of washers, but either way, get them lined up on that hole and drop a couple of tack welds down. Make sure that you keep the correct orientation as you do this. Now I did just throw some tacks on it. I'm going to go ahead and weld it. Now, and it doesn't really matter how much weld you put on there. In fact, I probably put more than what the instructions say, but a little extra weld isn't going to hurt it. It's just for correct spacing. But do make sure that you have the correct orientation on it. Both pieces need to be mirrored of each other when you apply the washer. Now as soon as the uprights have cooled down at the washer plate, I'm going to actually put the base structure back on the table, and we're going to set the uprights up in the actual slots that they're going to go against. Now I'm going to grab a hold of my magnet here, give it a couple of really good solid taps to make sure that it's actually seated correctly and the upright is completely perpendicular to the actual base surface. Now make sure that the washer is on the inside, as in you have to see a washer and its slot on the exact same side, so they have to be facing each other. Make sure the washer is on the inside, so when you put the second upright there, both washers need to be facing each other, so they are pointed to the inside of the bender. Now as soon as I got the first one up here, I'm going to drop a couple of tack welds down, and we're going to repeat the exact same process with the second upright, which also locks beautifully right into the slot that was provided with it. In the same process, I'm going to tap it down with the hammer on the holding magnet and double check that it is completely square and perpendicular to the base structure. Very important. And now comes the best part. I'm going to flip this thing up, I'm going to switch over to my number 17 torch head, and I'm going to fully weld this entire assembly as soon as I verify that it's all together. Now I'm just going to kind of play around with the welds on this one. You'll see a few different techniques. I'm doing everything from small light dabs to heavy filler to light filler to some layout wire to changing the way that I feed. Everything has changed up on this one. It's great practice. Now there are specific instructions on exactly what you need to weld and where you need to weld it. And it also specifies that if you think you need to add another weld to it, go ahead and do it. I mean, it's not going to hurt it, but make sure that you read all of it through and make sure that you get all of it welded up correctly. Now we're going to move on to the bend wheels. Now this is a little bit different than the instructions are actually specifying, but make sure that when you lay them out, the openings that you have on the bend wheels are facing each other. Make sure that the openings are facing each other. Then you can go ahead and grab one, grab the other one, and put that 3/4 inch washer that needs to be welded on just the same as we did with the uprights. As soon as you have them all welded on here, we got one more step. That is to take this piece as you are sitting at it. If you are following the exact same orientation that we were before, as you are looking at them, the piece on your left, simply flip it over, and then we can apply our sticker guards. Now these are very, very important where they actually have to line up at. Now the openings that you see here is the base of where the sticker guard actually needs to go. And it may seem when you initially put it in there that they're not going to line up just right. So throw a little tack weld on the inside of the part on both sides and make sure that they form a nice, perfect semicircle. Now I'm going to throw the degree sticker on here just to actually, make sure that it actually fits up where it needs to be. But very, very important, when you actually verify that it's fit, weld on the inside of that semicircle, the inside of those sticker guards. Make sure that the weld is on the inside, like toward the center of the bend weld. Do not weld on the outside where the sticker goes, otherwise the sticker will not apply. Now, as soon as we have all this done, all of our welding is complete. We can start the assembly. Now, there are a handful of features that really made me consider the Rogue Fab Model 600 bender instead of using the one that I have. One of them is the fact that it's USA made. Two, the price of the machine includes one die. It is available in a couple of different options to meet your budget. It is very versatile. It is extremely expandable, meaning that it grows with you. Instead of buying a new bender, you just buy another attachment for it, so that way you get more efficiency and not a lot of extra money spent. That is a fantastic deal. Now, you can go through over to roguefab.com and read the description on it the same as I did, or you can call them up and talk to them the same as I did, and you can get all that information. But I'm still not totally sold on this bender. I was not totally sold on it to begin with. I want to see what it can actually do. Now, we have our pieces and parts, and the only thing that we actually need to get additional is the jack. That is number 94562 from Harbor Freight. It's an air-over hydraulic cylinder that attaches to the actual Model 600 that it was meant for. It's the only part that's not made by Rogue Fab. Now, as soon as we stick it in there, into the cylinder supports, we're going to walk around to the front of it, throw our W block onto the front of the actual ram itself, tighten it down, and we're going to get our bending wheels in. Now, the bending wheels, there's a couple of different ways to throw these in here. In fact, Rogue Fab's got a pretty good video on how to actually install it, but I found a little bit different ways, similar to a die change. I'm going to slap in the lower hole where it actually goes on the cylinder, and then the second hole up on the top of the frame, I'm going to slide another pin in there. Then I'm going to go to the center hole with the 3/4 inch pin, slap a couple washers in there. The washers are optional. They're not required to be on there, but I'm going to slap a couple washers in there, stick the die on there, put the other set of washers in, slide the pin all the way through, and this is ready to roll as soon as we get our hairpin on there and we pull the second pin out of the top of it. Now you can actually see that the machine is actually sitting all on its own, sliding on its axis. All we got to do is throw the springs in here. So the small end goes in the base, the big end goes in the W block, it's clipped in. Now we're going to throw our pressure die in there. This is the upgraded roller pressure die, which I actually really like about it instead of the standard friction one, but it's up to you which one you want to use. And this is about what our machine looks like. And if you really check it out, and as soon as you get it all assembled, you realize what a beast this thing really is. But I am not totally sold on this machine just yet. I have to bend something. I mean, this is cool the way it went together, and I'm really satisfied, but I've got to bend something. So as soon as I get my degree indicator on, I'm going to slap a clamp block down on the tube, slide the tube into the machine, clip my pin in, and I'm going to pull the trigger and see what this thing can actually do. Now this, right here, that's exactly where my other bender stops. This one just keeps on going, right? How far? I got about 92.5 degrees out of one stroke on that cylinder. 92.5 degrees in one shot. That is really awesome. But does the bend look good? I want to know that too. Well, let's take it out of here and have a look at it. I would definitely suggest that that is a fantastic bend profile. It is well within the tolerances required for all of the rules and regulations that I build for, and I still got that much out of it. But I'm not totally sold on it yet. I am still not. I want to see what else this can do. So I looked into some of the features on it. The fact that you don't have to take the clamp block off of it means that you can actually place it up like I did here. Let's say you're measuring for a roll cage. You find out, oh yeah, my bend was not enough. Well, I'm going to throw it right back in the bender exactly the way that I took it out. And I'm going to stick it back in here with the clamp block in the exact same place, pull the trigger again, and it's just going to keep on bending. It's going to go right where it left off before, and it's going to continue the bend in the exact same spot. Now, does it kink, roll, or bend it, or mess any of it up? No, it doesn't. Which means you can throw it right back up into the car and make sure that you got your angle correct. Now, if that isn't cool enough, yeah, for most people, that's where you're like, shwoo, take my money. For me, no, I want to know more. How about this? Layout. I'm going to lay 3 clamp blocks down on this piece of tube. Now I'm going to set 2 of them up on the exact same plane on a nice flat surface, but I'm going to clock the middle one. I'm going to move that middle one to a different angle. So I'm going to see what this can actually do. So as soon as I load the tube up here, a little bit unlike it should be, but at the same time, I mean, it works. It's exactly what it needs to be. Get the first bend on there, get rid of that clamp block, slide it back in for the next one, pull the trigger again, bend it all up again. There's bend number 2, and it's actually offset from bend number 1. That's actually pretty cool. Doing all right. I'm digging it. All right, cool, cool. Now we're gonna throw the third one in here. Now I'm gonna give this thing all it's got. I want to go a full stroke on this one just to see if it can actually do it. Well, there you have it. One complete stroke, one seriously insane bent tube. So it does this one, it also does this one. It can do just about any other angle that I put into it. It can do S-bends, it can do offsets, it can do 90s, it can make cheaters, it can do just about everything that I have put it up to. Now I have put this thing through an insane amount of bending. Not just what you see here, but even more on that. But I'm still not sold on it. Well, call me picky, but is there anything else that totally pushes this one over the edge, or something that just screams, shut up and take my money? Yeah, there is. My other bender can't do that. Well, if you got any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments box below. You can also hit me up on Facebook.com/Fabricator-series. Hit me up on Instagram at the.fabricator. Make sure you head over to the Fabricationseries.com website. Check out the really awesome stuff we've got, including the new classes that we're hosting, which we actually use the Model 600 from Rogue Fab in the actual classes that involve tube bending. It's a really great way to get hands-on with the machine if you're not familiar with it and whatnot. But that's about all I've got for this episode. I do want to thank you guys very much for watching along. Make sure you head over to roguefab.com, check out their really awesome selection of benders, tools, and all the rest of that stuff. Yes, seriously, I'm sold on it. I absolutely love the bender. So that's all I got for this episode. I'll see you guys on the next round.